Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 1st, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop here. You can see you got British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. Still got some troughing around here. We're going to have some clouds for the next few days, but we are eventually going to warm up as we head towards the 4th of July and the end of the week and on in through the weekend here as we build a big dominating ridge of high pressure here for the west coast of North America. And we're going to dive into those details as we go through the video this morning. If you look out towards the Hawaiian Islands, you can see what is known as a Kona low here, about some unsettled weather out there, but off to the east of that is where our high pressure system is developing, and this will meander and eventually dominate our weather here. Taking a look at the probability of thunderstorms here for today, you can see mainly Spokane, northeast, across northeast Washington, Idaho Panhandle, Montana, British Columbia, the Rocky Mountains here. And this was issued this morning here by Spokane National Weather Service. Medford, Oregon, talking about the heat, the excessive heat possible this week here, July 4th through the evening of Saturday, July 7th. Some very warm temperatures out there. You guys know how to beat the heat. Heads up, it is on its way. Taking a look at the breezy conditions for today, Pendleton National Weather Service here, 40 miles per hour here with some low relative humidities, and some of these gusty winds and elevated fire conditions will be present for some areas. Taking a look at that thunderstorm outlook one more time here, just clip Spokane off to the northeast. You can see it does include Boise, Butte, and Missoula as well, just off to the east of Pendleton, and some of southeast Oregon is included in that. This is day 2 here, and then you can see that activity kind of wanes there for the Boise area and pushes off to the east. If you take a look at SeaTac for the month of June, below average temperatures and below average precipitation here. We usually average 71.1. We're at 69.8 there. 1.19 inches of rain in the rain bucket. Now, looking at the North American model, this is simulated infrared satellite imagery. So as we scroll through the day today, you can see some of the thunderstorm activity here across the Idaho Panhandle, western Montana. You can also see some of these clouds that are going to be hanging with us here as we go through today and probably on in through tomorrow here across some of the Puget Sound here. Oregon doing a little bit better as far as sunshine is concerned, but there will be some sun breaks here. But then the warm-up starts to occur as we go through July 3rd. We start to break things out a bit more, get some more sunshine in here, and then we're going to ramp things up as we go to the 4th of July and on and through the weekend coming up. Now, taking a look at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right, 500 millibars. There's that Kona low for the Hawaiian Islands that I showed you. There's our ridge of high pressure building out over the Pacific Ocean here. That troughing kind of hanging with us here for the next couple of days across the Intermountain West here. And then you see that ridge really start to push in here as we go on in through Wednesday. And here is the 4th of July right there. That's about the time we're shooting off fireworks here. And you can see that ridge will be in place across the west coast of North America. Then we get even warmer as we go on in towards this weekend here. As you see this ridge axis and good model agreement between the GFS on the right and the European on the left, with that deep low out over the Pacific Ocean helping to amplify this ridge and bringing us our very warm weather here for the Pacific Northwest. If we look at the GFS, we're going to scroll out a little bit into the extended forecast here as well, and you can see that ridge of high pressure kind of spinning and setting up shop here right off the west coast of North America as we go towards the end of the week coming up here. So that's why we're going to warm up so dang much. And the GFS on through the extended forecast likes to throw these fantasy tropical systems out here. We kind of ignore that at this point until the European latches on. But then you can see that ridge kind of hanging out here for a while, and then we try to bring a system up in through western British Columbia, hitting Haida Gwaii there. And we flatten the ridge out a little bit here, but we really don't bring the heights down too much here. And it is summertime here in the Pacific Northwest, so shouldn't be a complete surprise to people out there. But if we look far enough out, you can see another system try to move through here. You take that with a grain of salt at this range. Taking a look at the European model run, look at the 4th of July getting up towards 80 for Seattle, then potentially hitting 90 at some point this weekend for Seattle metro areas. And we're going to warm up even more across western Oregon, some of the eastern portions as well. We'll look at that here in a moment. Also, this is the GFS talking about the very warm temperatures, especially once you get in towards July 5th. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, and stick with me here. We're going to go over some of the individual locations and average temperatures for this time of year. So I got more to show you. I know I usually wrap up the videos with this, but this is issued yesterday. Above average signal here for much of the west coast. It should be no surprise after watching the video so far this morning. Here's the 6 to 10 day below average signal through July 10th. 8 to 14 days, something similar there as well. Now, looking at the daily 2-meter max temperature, here is for today. This is for Tuesday. You can kind of see still a bit of suppressed temperatures here across some of the areas, especially west of the Cascades. Start to warm things up a bit here on Wednesday, and then Thursday, July 4th, we start to turn up the heat. Some 90s for the Willamette Valley, some upper 80s for some of southwest Washington, Seattle, maybe into the 80s, southwest BC as well. And then we go to July 5th. Look at this, up towards 100 degrees for some Willamette Valley locations, maybe some 90s for western Washington. Then July 6th, warming up, some widespread 100-degree readings here potentially for western Oregon. Look at eastern Washington, eastern Oregon, nice and toasty. And we go through Sunday, maybe hitting 90 for Seattle there. We go to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so we don't cool down too much. Kind of a gradual cool down as we go on in through next week. But again, at that range, you take it with a grain of salt. And looking at Seattle, you can see if we do hit 90 on Sunday, that would be about 15, 16 degrees above average for this time of year. So it is noticeable. And you can see things really start to ramp up here as we get through July 5th. But the 4th of July, looking like the beginning of the heat wave, is going to be rolling in then, slightly above average conditions then, and perhaps extending on in through the mid portion of July. This is Portland coming up. Look at maybe 100 degrees on July 6th. That is about 20 degrees above average for this time of year. That red line, again, the average temperatures, and you can see these warm overnight lows versus the average overnight lows here as well. So not much relief in the overnight hours for some areas. Brookings, Oregon here, I mentioned this. There could be some offshore flow. Look at the 4th of July approaching 96, 97 degrees there and warm overnight lows here. Again, just depending on how much offshore flow we get. And you can see the average temperatures this time of year right around 71 or so. This is Eugene, Oregon, perhaps exceeding 100 degrees by the time we get towards Saturday as well. This is Bend, Oregon. Look at this, 104 for Saturday. So some very warm temperatures upcoming here. Some places 20 degrees above average for this time of year. Bellingham, a little bit better outlook here as far as the mossbacks are concerned anyway. You can see the high temperature 79 degrees for Sunday, July 7th. This is Spokane, some warm temperatures out there as well. You're looking at 10, maybe 15 degrees above average for some portions of eastern Washington. And this is updated just now here. This is the 7-day significant fire potential. If we look at the NW4, that is some of southwest Oregon here. So you can see high risk for some critical burn environment out there as we go through this upcoming weekend when it gets really hot. And there's a lot of elevated out there. You can see for NW7, south central Oregon here, NW6, that would include Bend, Oregon. And then we get to NW4 again, and you can see that fire danger will be ramping up out there. And even some fire danger for places like the Willamette Valley in Portland here, NW2 and NW3. It's going to be some elevated risk out there also. NW1 for the Seattle Metro gets to some moderate levels as we go through next Saturday, but nothing elevated or higher. And NW11 actually starts to fire up here as well for the elevated risk as we go on into this upcoming weekend. But yeah, anyway, the ridge is here. It's not here quite yet, but it is building out over the Pacific Ocean, and models are in exceptional agreement that this is going to set up shop and dominate our weather here as we go through the upcoming weekend here. So nice 4th of July coming up. Careful with your fireworks out there, because if you start fires here, they may prolong and linger as we're going to be very warm through the upcoming weekend also. But anyway, hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.